What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Broke Creatives Podcast. Jarrett, this is episode 12.
This is the end of a season for most people that do podcasts.
Yes. You know, we've been looking at all of the analytics, and they look absolutely beautiful.
And we had,
but we need people to share.
That is true. We do need more people to share. We need people to follow us on Instagram, on subscribing on YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube, share it on Instagram, because today is going to be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And we are actually preparing for a mastermind trip. So we are actually, our brains are
fried in a half.
Fried, rolling, exploding all at the same time. So we're super excited for what we're going to be talking about today. But be sure, like we said, share this on YouTube, share it on your Instagram, wherever you may be, your MySpace.
That's some boomer stuff right there.
Yes, it is.
That is some boomer stuff.
All right, Jarrett, let's dive into it.
Unpopular opinion, and I didn't tell you what this one was beforehand,
yeah,
but everyone else knows what it is.
I have no idea what we're talking about today.
It's going to be great. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to read the caption for it, and then as I read the caption, you can be pondering. That'll give you a little bit of time to think about it. It says, multitasking is a myth. You can't really multitask. Normal human is physically and mentally incapable of multitasking unless you twist around the definition of multitasking and bring in the automatic motor skills driven activities under the umbrella, like breathing, walking, talking, driving. So don't feel proud of your multitasking abilities. You're misunderstanding your capabilities, and most probably in a bid to multitask, you're actually being suboptimal and inefficient.
You know what the first thing that comes to my mind is?
What?
Time blocking.
Oh.
Ooh.
Tell me about time blocking, Sean. Tell me about. I feel like I could teach a whole course on time blocking.
You can.
I could. I know I could.
Okay, just using your using your system's mind and brain cells.
Yep.
Explain to us in 5 seconds what time blocking is. 3, 2, 1, go.
Time blocking is time management, and so it's taking everything that you do in a day and making sure you have uninterruptible time throughout the day to make sure that you achieve your big 3 for every week.
In segments,
right. And so I actually just color-coded for all the people that need color coding, which some people need more color coding than others.
Which it is nice.
Yeah, I just made you and Will, I just made you guys a whole thing that you guys...
Studio-wide.
Right. And so it kind of nails down, because we're doing a lot more stuff with podcasting with like all of our internal projects here. But one of the things that I did that I think a lot of people, and honestly, it's crazy because as we're going into this this event this week, we actually had talked about on the last one of the things that we talked about and a lot of people had questions about, because I guess what I thought was a normal thought process ended up actually being something that people didn't really think of or do a lot of the times, which was time blocking.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to the people about it, was like, the crazy thing is a lot of people just operated, they were like, how do you, get more efficient? How do you make sure that you get your tasks done, during the week and all that and whatever? And one of the things that I told them was that I learned it was actually a Michael Hyatt book. And one of the things that I did is I always made sure that so there's this thing, it's called a full focus planner.
Yep.
And every week,
sorry, keep going. We're going to drop the link below because I feel like everyone needs one.
They're fantastic. Mine's in my office right now. But so with the full focus planner, it actually helps you. So it's a planner for every quarter. So as you're going through the quarter, you get to set quarterly goals, which are based off your yearly goals. But in your quarterly goals, you get to set your big 3 for the quarter, which then breaks it down for the big 3 for the month, which breaks it down to your big 3 for the week.
Yep.
And all of those things should lead back to your main for like the year. So anyways, and so every single day of the week, you get an opportunity to highlight and write down what your big 3 are for the day, any like events or tasks that you have. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, you write down whether you completed them or not, and et cetera. Yep. So then at the end of the week, you're able to go through and look at your complete weekly big 3s and figure out if you achieved your big 3 or if you didn't. And then if you didn't, you can actually move it into the next week and make sure that you kind of make time for it. But one of the things that I did when we made the time blocking for what our studio was going to work on is obviously Monday is going to be our day where we connect. We have one-on-ones with everybody every single week. So that's just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. There's no roadblocks in the way. But then also with the focus time in the week, we made it strategically to where you had time to make sure that any of your big 3 that the person has that we identified like on that Monday, during the one-on-one and stuff like that, we were able to work on in that focus time throughout the week.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of the times people don't do that. A lot of the times people have like, you could hear, they're like, oh, I don't check my emails except for at the morning, like when I start the day or at the end of the day. And then throughout the day, they don't do it because it could be distracting. A lot of people turn their phones. So like, especially when iPhones came out with that new feature where you have focus times, it's been game changer. I have it set up to where when I arrive at work, it automatically goes into focus time. So I don't have to do it. It just does it. And it actually hides all of my like badge notifications. So when I have like, if I have a text message or I have unread emails, it hides those notifications. So if I do go onto my phone for something, I don't see that and get distracted and start to go and dive into all of that when I can just like, I'll check it. So I have strategic times. Like I'll check it during the morning, I'll check it at lunchtime, and I'll check it in the afternoon, like before I'm getting ready to leave. If I leave in the afternoon, but that doesn't ever happen. But I think that's the biggest thing is focus time lets you have distraction-free time to where you're like uninterruptible. People, like if you close your door, people know that you're working on something and they won't interrupt you unless it's absolutely necessary.
I think that's one of the first things that when you start opening up your company, setting those foundations from day one. Yeah. Hey, my door is closed. This is my thinking. This is my free time right now. Not free time.
Focus time.
Your focus time. This is my focus time right now. Freedom focus time.
Free to focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my focus time right now.
Yeah.
Don't bother
How
me.
often do you have focus time?
Focus time for me is not eating lunch.
That's called
just
unhealthy.
Literally just working straight through lunch and breakfast and sometimes dinner.
So do you think that you're suboptimal if you don't eat lunch?
Oh, of course.
So then why would you do that?
But the task at hand is just you knock it out and then you finish it. And next thing you know, it's past dinner time. Yeah. No, so getting back on track, one of the biggest things for me that I'm trying to really overcome, just being kind of vulnerable, is checking my emails on my phone while I'm sitting at my computer. Because checking your emails on your phone leads to going to Instagram, checking those text messages. This email's a little bit easier for me to understand, like on my phone, because you know how sometimes like attachments and different things, or you're like trying to airdrop doesn't work. Okay, let me send it in an email from my phone to the computer. Yeah, and that's where it starts to go, and everything just explodes. So that's kind of where it begins for me, is going to the emails, going to the Instagram, especially whenever you hit that export button and it just sits there.
Oh, you mean you don't use Media Encoder?
There. Oh, no, I use Media Encoder. But he obviously hasn't used Premiere yet recently because, Jarrett, you have to update 2022 to 2023.
My computer automatically did that.
Your Premiere and your encoder has to be running on the same 2023 in order for the encoder to pick up. Or else it says...
I don't know. I exported with Media Encoder like a couple days ago.
You want a high five?
No, because it'll probably be missed.
Yeah, that you weren't getting a high five on that one.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, so being a video editor, whatever you want to call it, photographer, filmmaker, all of the above, if you're editing or if you're just working on a Word document and you're jumping between your phone and your computer, you cannot multitask. I promise you, you can try. Good luck. Because when you're doing one thing, the other thing is not happening.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the biggest things that I've had to overcome, is figuring out how to trust myself when it comes to having the phone. Sometimes, so one of the biggest things that I also taught myself is working from home. Working from home is near impossible because you have so many distractions, which is a whole nother thing. I'm watching Jarrett's face right now because he thinks it's possible.
No, I don't. I don't work from home.
That's
just
good.
Stay here and work late.
Yeah.
You know, you want one of the... My facial expressions are really loud.
They're really loud. So talk your feelings, Jarrett.
Talk your feelings. I think
this is a feelings segment.
No.
Go.
No. Working from home is, I think, especially in the creative industry, a lot of people think that they can work from home, but they are...
I mean, so I have mixed opinions on that as well, because there are a lot of creatives that I know that operate out of their home office.
Yeah.
And they're very well trained in the sense of keeping work-life balance, like life work together.
Yeah. Well,
Figuring it
work-life balance is the thing that we talked about from the very beginning, like
Yep.
get-go.
Yep. And so one thing that I would say for myself is it easier for me to focus at home? Is it easier to focus in the office?
Yeah.
Do I need to eliminate the distractions of like setting my phone outside the office? What are some of those little details that you can do to help yourself not multitask?
You know, one of the things that I did before is I actually took my phone and I put it on my shelf away from me, and I got so much done. The thing that's annoying with having, it's not annoying at all, but the thing that's hard, makes it hard, is that especially with Macs, you get your text messages, all of the things come into your computer.
Oh yeah, see,
But see, it's great because I'm a lot more efficient, because then I
Yeah.
make sure I communicate really well. Because a lot of the times miscommunication is the cause of a lot of frustration.
for sure.
And so I think that that's probably one of the reasons why I'm able to communicate a little bit more, would be because I have the important messages or the important things in front of me. Because that's where it's like, it's hard to try to find that balance. Because I know that, like we just talked about, only checking your emails in the morning, during the middle of the day, and at the end of the day. So it's not as distracting. But then it's at the same time, it's like, in order to give that exceptional customer service, you have to be able to respond quickly, no matter what. Even if you don't have an answer, you still have to respond and say, hey, I don't have an answer right this second, but I am working on it. Because some communication is better than no communication.
So let me ask you this. So you're talking about communication, you're talking about text messages versus every other communication service that we use here at the studio. So how does Jarrett separate the text messages going from like putting your phone on silent, the notifications, all of that stuff? How do you go from, like, how do you wear multiple hats when it comes to the text messages versus the emails and the Slacks and the ClickUps? Like, when you go to your phone, I'm guessing you go to your phone on your computer, or your messages on your computer.
Yeah.
So those notifications are coming in on your computer. How do you, for those that have the same issue or are trying to overcome this issue, how do you decipher the two?
Decipher between personal and business?
Either decipher between personal and business, or how do you see these notifications? What's like your mentality when it comes to like understanding, okay, I need to respond to this text. All of these texts are coming in. Like, just explaining what you just told us about how your text messages, like, you're quick to respond to your text messages. And if a client needs something, you're fast to respond on your text messages. Like, text messages versus email. How do you decipher the two?
Well, most of the time, so I get like I have it set up, especially with Outlook. I have it set up my different folders. So there's my focused folder, which actually is like important emails, and my other, which is junk. Like, I don't need to go through junk email. But most of the time, if a client is sending me an email, it'll show up in the focused one, which is where, like, that one I'll get a notification on my phone if I'm not in my office. But if I am in there, then I'll get a notification on my screen, because it only gives me notifications for focused emails. So if I know a client sent an email, I'm able to read it and actually respond quickly, or make sure I pass a message along if I need to. And then text messages the same way. That's one of the things I'm working on a little bit more, because obviously the focused ones aren't, like, they don't have that as much. But with the focused time, you can actually choose the people that can get through that barrier, essentially.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, like, you're on my focused one. So even when I'm in Do Not Disturb, it still will have your messages go through.
Yeah.
Will is the same way.
Right.
Will, if he texts me, his
Yeah.
is still going to go through. Josh, the same way. They're still going to go through. And most of the time, those are the only people that actually will text me for something. Like, I'll have some clients occasionally text, and I've gone 2 hours before without even seeing them send me a text message before, just because it's in the filter.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, I feel like you have to do that in order to make sure that you can still work on everything else.
Yeah.
I think that prioritizing the order in which you work is good. So, like, if you have different clients in different orders, like, still trying to knock it out from beginning to end. But even as, like, the clients, even if they're far behind, or, like, say we're behind or something like that, still being able to communicate, even if it means you don't have an answer right away. Because I'll do that all the time. Like, there's somebody says, hey, you know, I got a text message earlier today, actually. They were saying, hey, just checking to see the status of some videos that we shot. Hey, I'm sorry I don't have a response right this second, but I will find out and get you a response later tonight. And even if I don't have the response of, hey, this is when the video is going to be done, at the very least, I'm going to do something to find out an answer.
Right.
And then I'm going to say, hey, I don't have a timeline, but I'll have more of a timeline tomorrow or the next day. And then just still following up with them after that. Because I think that can lead to a lot less ambiguity and frustration from their side. Even if like there is, Josh always says, all frustration is from unmet expectation. And so if we clearly set the expectations from the get-go and even communicate after, if like say we're not going to meet an expectation or a deadline, we're able to still communicate and say, hey, these are the steps we're taking to make sure they're still done as quick as possible. Even though they're not meeting the timeline that we thought they were going to meet, we had something come up, so be it. We're going to still make sure that we still are getting it done quickly, and it's not going to just not have any communication for 3 weeks, something like that.
I definitely think this is, at least for me, this is the first time having the amount of projects under one roof.
Yeah.
The amount of content we have pushed out of this place in just a few months is literally insane. There's a lot of studios that produce half the stuff we're doing an entire year. Like that, it blows my mind at the amount of work and everything that we've done here at the studio. And of course, what comes with that is we start to see, Jarrett, you can kind of speak more on this, but we start to see all of like the empty spaces within the systems.
Yeah, the gaps
within the systems. And so even though they seem super great on that base level, and we've had meetings about this last week, talking about what can be better. How do we communicate this better? Okay, this communication starts here, but okay, what if this happens?
Yeah.
Just like you were talking about. And so that's really what we're dealing with right now, is figuring out how to structure these things to where they're just not built for that base or the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it all comes down to the framing and how you frame something.
It's how you frame it. It's how you just initiate the initial conversation.
I really want to say the thing that Josh says, but I don't want to say it because
you know he's going to say it.
I know he's going to say it, but it's also going to be an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
For his episode. So I'm not going to say it. Keep going.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to say it, and we're just going to talk about it again. But everything is marketing. And not a lot of people think that. Not a lot of people think that everything is marketing. But I really think, I mean, literally the way Josh is going to talk about this, I am sure. But the way that he, communicates to his kids is marketing. The way that you communicate to your relationships is marketing. The way that I can communicate to you is a form of marketing. Like how to get stuff done. And it sounds like everything is just manipulation. It is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be bad. I mean, marketing, that's a whole rabbit trail.
Yeah, that's a whole rabbit trail.
We don't have time for that right now.
No.
We got to wrap this one up. But
yeah.
Josh hey, guess what? We're going to film an episode in Mexico.
Yeah, we are.
It's going to be great. And hopefully Josh will be on that one because Josh is going to be with us.
That would be cool.
We should film like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
We could film one with Will. Will needs to be on the podcast.
Will does need
Chase.
To.
Chase is going with us.
Jesus, pray for us.
That'll be good.
Yes. But no, so we can start laying the plane, Jarrett, and let's just wrap it back around to what we were talking about at the beginning, is that sometimes we think we are multitasking, but majority of the time we're just creating distractions for ourselves.
Well, and it's the same thing as the unpopular opinion that we had is activity is not productivity.
Right.
So you can be doing busy work
and you can
not
tell
getting
people you're
anything
busy.
Done.
Like you have a busy week. Okay, that's great. But
yeah,
what are you accomplishing?
Man, I literally am like working 60 hours a week and like there's nothing to show for it.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of the problems in the world can be solved if people talk to each other.
Yeah.
I think that happens with business, that happens with personal relationships, that happens with friendships, that happens with family drama. The amount of drama that I've seen happen recently within families and within, like, look at the news. The news literally just don't have a hammer in your hand. Anyways, that's a whole thing. But
there's an axe sitting behind you over there.
But no, literally, I would say a good majority of the issues in the world, or the frustrations, or the ambiguity, or the unmet expectations, all of that could be solved if people just were able to talk to each other. And I think that that's something that a lot of people avoid, and people don't like having conversations and stuff. But I think a lot of that stuff could happen if somebody would just talk to somebody. Yeah. So, communication works for those who work at it.
I think for this one, it would be really cool if we just shared like one tip for someone. We shared a little bit of time blocking.
Mm-hmm.
We shared a little bit of like eliminating those distractions.
Yeah.
In the workspace, at home, working from home, separating the office from work life.
But I feel like if you're an entrepreneur, it's like really hard to do.
Yeah. But I feel like taking the entrepreneurial role, you already understand the weight that it carries. Yeah. And you're willing to do whatever it takes.
Josh was talking this morning. He was like, because obviously we don't know what the statistic is, but I wonder what percentage of entrepreneurship ends in divorce because of the fact that they didn't know what it actually took to be an entrepreneur. But if you find somebody that does know what it takes to be an entrepreneur and like champions you,
shout out to the Unicorn Squad.
Shoot, those are the entrepreneur wives in the Unicorn Squad. They are like in it. They're also opening their own businesses and making millions of dollars. It's like,
but that it goes along with what we're talking about, and I know that Ashley can talk or speak more to this. Yeah. But a lot of divorces happen because there's no communication as to where the next paycheck is going to come from. What's the plan? What's your idea? What if this doesn't happen? What if you try and do this and it fails? Like, those conversations aren't happening. Yeah. And I know, Jarrett, we're like literally growing our mindsets to understand the communication piece of marketing and the business side and clients, the amount of clients that we've had, not just clients, but being able to turn around these projects super fast. Yeah. And so what's something that you can think of when it comes to
communication? I got it. I literally got it.
Yeah. So when it comes to communication, if someone is struggling with communication right now, and they're just like, oh, man, no one just understands me at all. Yeah. What would that be?
2 monologues don't make a dialogue.
Okay.
So 2 people can be saying something, but doesn't mean that there's actual communication happening.
That's good.
Yeah. I think a lot of people
How many times has that happened?
I can think of a lot today. Yeah. But I think a lot of the times that there's a lot of people that think they're having conversation, and the biggest misconception is that communication has occurred, but it's just a monologue. They're talking, making noise, but not actually receiving. I know that Josh Latterman, he'll talk about this, I'm sure, but he has a system with his kids to where, like, say he tells one of his kids, hey, go take out the trash. They understood, cool, go take out the trash. They may pass it on to their brother, and then their brother didn't take out the trash. So guess who gets in trouble? It's the first kid that was told to take out the trash. Because your job when you communicate to them is to make sure that they hear exactly what needs to happen, and they're responsible for making sure it happens. But like if they went and told their brother, say, hey, can you go take out the trash? And he didn't understand, I need to do it right this second. Then he didn't clearly make sure that the communication happened. It was a monologue right there. There was an actual dialogue, making sure that there's actual understanding back. Yeah. So I think that's just make sure that when you're communicating, you're doing your job to make sure that they received it. That's part of communication, is making sure that it's been received, not just that you shared it. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. I know we talked about a lot this episode.
We did. It went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to go, actually. I thought it was going to be a short one because we got to pack still.
We had Cancun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
We are headed out for a little bit.
But we're going to record in Mexico. It's going to be great. We're going to record a couple.
Everything is going to stay the same.
Yep.
But nothing is changing for you guys. Nothing's changing for you.
Yeah.
But we're going to go have fun. We're going to do some business, connect with some amazing, amazing people, film some really crazy videos.
Yeah. Did you know that you have to be a Mexican citizen in order to fly a drone in Mexico? I didn't know that, but it's a rule.
Yes.
Anyways.
But you know who is taking a drone?
You're not taking my drone.
Beep.
That is a dialogue because I communicated right there. Anyways, that's it.
Yes. Be sure to check out the website.
Yep.
Go get
We
you a
got
hat.
hats. Yeah, they're coming. They're here literally this week.
They're literally here this week.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We'll have hats. We'll have join the group on Facebook because we're about to be launching some stuff there.
Yes,
I've actually been
we
working
are.
on it. I've actually been working on quite a bit of it. But
Join the Facebook group.
you'll be seeing all kinds of stuff. We got
my
some cool people in the group too. We have some dope people in the group.
Yeah, we do.
So, anyways, that's all I got.
Yeah. Good job, Jarrett. Proud of you.
No, I'm not even falling for that. I know it's time for him to completely screw with me. But anyways, thanks for watching and talk to you later.
Jarrett, come on.
Look at you. See?
We'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining us. There it is.
Yes, welcome everybody.
Yes.
No. See you later.
Peace out, guys.